Morning Ball. This off in our house is way too long this week. And let's face it, everyone and their brother is going outside this weekend.
If you're a true red-blooded Minnesotan, chances are the crowds might be too much for you. So here were some home streaming picks to get you away from the crowds from Paul's trip to the movies. We want to welcome Paul McGuire Grimes. Hi, Paul.
Hello, Paul.
I actually think that these, when you come here and you share with us things to stream, these are the greatest time-saving pieces of advice that you give us, because the amount that you spend just staring and scrolling, what do you want to watch? What do you want to watch?
Can you go back? I missed that row.
I know,
Yeah.
crazy.
Sure.
Okay, so we're going to talk about Fyre Fraud.
Yeah, so this is the Hulu documentary all about the highly anticipated Fyre Festival and how it all imploded once people got to this island.
The doomed Fyre Festival.
I've seen the Netflix. We've both seen the Netflix and not the Hulu one.
So this is the one where Hulu paid Billy McFarland to interview him as he's in jail. So Billy McFarland created this along with Ja Rule, and it is a look at how they basically use social media and social influencers to market the dickens out of this thing, and when it didn't even exist to begin with, and the massive fraud behind it. It is baffling, and it drives you nuts and batty the whole time you're watching.
They sold tickets to a music festival that was going to take place on an uninhabited island in the Bahamas with no infrastructure whatsoever.
Right.
They sold people tickets worth hundreds of thousands of dollars to stay in villas that did not exist, and they were still selling them 6 weeks before this event was going to happen.
It shows you the power of people like Kendall Jenner, influencers like that, where people are like, oh, I like Steve. Steve's promoting this thing. I'm going to go buy tickets for it. And with this blind notion about it.
Even Steve doesn't have that much pull.
No,
He doesn't. Even on Kelly and Ryan, you don't have that much kind
So
of
you like, there's one on Hulu, there's one on Netflix. Where should we start?
I think you should start with the Hulu one.
Shoot.
Because then you could hear from Billy McFarland himself to see what he and how he has zero remorse over it.
I was going to ask if he has any remorse.
He doesn't quite understand what happened either. I mean, it's that idea of these entrepreneurs that think that they're above the law and above the rule.
Wow,
it's
fascinating.
You can watch that on Hulu, another one on Netflix. You can take your pick there, both good. The second one is Roma. This is on Netflix and getting all sorts of Oscar buzz.
10 Oscar nominations.
Wow.
This is from writer-director Alfonso Cuarón, and it is about a young maid in Mexico City in the 70s who finds out that she's pregnant and will have to raise her child on her own as she's helping raise this family.
You know, a universal story that just never gets old. It's just like those types of stories about women facing motherhood under less than ideal circumstances is just, they are always need to be told.
And it doesn't matter if this takes place in Mexico City, because you can, I mean, it does for this culture because it invites you into that world and that universe. Yeah. But even if you're not Mexican, even if you don't know this world, you are connecting to this story. And it's a memory piece. I mean, it has that unstructured look to it. I mean, it's just a year in this life. And the two women in it, the main girl that plays the maid, she's up for an Oscar, never acted before in her world.
Wow.
She's just kind of picked up an Oscar nomination, and you just feel for what she goes through in this movie.
10 Oscar nods, and you can just watch it on Netflix.
You can watch it for free. You don't have to go to a theater.
And it's changing the look at how we feel about Oscar movies, and if a streaming movie from Netflix could be an Oscar contender.
Yeah, that's true.
Through. Finally, Boy Erased, which is this available on demand right now?
Yes.
Okay.
So you get it on demand, Blu-ray, DVD.
But not Netflix or...
Not Netflix, no. It's based on a true story. Lucas Hedges plays a young man who was forced to go to gay conversion therapy after coming out to his very religious conservative parents.
Oh, boy.
So
pretty emotional, I would imagine.
It's very emotional, but what I like about it is it tells the story very gently while packing that emotional punch. So you're traveling with this character in college as he's figuring out his truth, but then the time that he's in this program and how these men are trying to literally beat this out of him.
Oh my God.
And force him to be straight and force him to be a man.
Right.
And as a gay man, like, it's so frustrating to know that this exists, that this is not banned in the US, that our vice president approves of this and sends money to gay conversion therapy. Like, it's so eye-opening that if people aren't familiar with this, watch this movie, learn this story, and see how it affects so many people.
So a lot of, another example, though, of important eye-opening art that's being made. That's really great, Paul. Okay,
thank you.
Fun.
Paulie,
What to watch?
Paulie's got a website.
He does. He's got a website.
The
He's got a podcast.
Stay with me on this.
Yeah.
The website is called paulstriptothemovies.com, and he's got more movie reviews there. You can also listen to Paul on the Colleen and Bradley Show on My Talk 107.1 every Friday.
He also has a podcast
What's
conveniently called Paul's Trip to the Movies.
Synergy.
It just
That's
makes
what
so much
that
sense. Remember, the Oscars are right here on 5 Eyewitness News, Sunday, February 24th, starting at 7 p.m.
Hallelujah.